All right, today's lesson is on point-slope form. This is a form of an equation, write down the title, where this is the formula. So this is the formula that you need to know. This is a form of an equation, and we're going to use this as a tool. Okay, so it's y minus y1 equals m times, in parentheses, x minus x1. And what the y1 and the x1 are is a point on the line. So if you have a point and you have a slope, you can use this particular formula. So let me show you a little bit more on how to use it. All right, so the steps that we use to use point-slope form to write linear equations. So this unit is writing linear equations, and we're going to use the point-slope form to write an equation. So there are two steps. The first step is to find the slope. Now you already know this particular formula, so you can write it down if you want to, or you don't have to. But you need to have the slope. So if you don't have the slope, then you need to find it with the 2 points that they give you. The next step is that you're going to substitute in the slope and one of your points into the formula below. And then you're going to write an equation of a line. So m in this formula is the slope, and x1 and y1 equals a point on the line. All right, so let's do an example. All right, example 1. Write an equation in point-slope form for the line with a slope that is 3, and it contains the point -1, 4. So we're just going to write an equation in point-slope form. Point-slope form says y minus y1, and you'll need to memorize this, equals m times x minus x1. That is your form. That is the point-slope form. So all we're going to do is substitute. So you have the point, this point, that is your x1, and that is your y1. So we substitute. So here we go. Y minus y1 is 4 equals, and then your slope is 3, and then x minus a -1. So all you're doing is substituting here and here. Next, we need to simplify, because y minus 4 equals 3, and anytime you subtract a negative, you're going to keep change, so that becomes x plus 1. And really, that's all you do. This is the point-slope form of a line. Now, what we usually do with this is we actually don't ever leave it like this, but you will for this particular lesson. But let me show you what you will end up doing is you'll end up taking it and using this form as a tool to solve for y. So if I do the distributive property here, I get 3x plus 3. And then if I add 4 to both sides, then I get this equation in slope-intercept form. So this is slope-intercept form. And then this right here is point-slope form. And there are 3 forms of an equation, and these are 2 of them that you're going to be learning. All right, let's move on to the next example. All right, example 2. Write an equation in point-slope form for a line with the slope as a third, and this is our point. So all we do is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Again, this is your x1, and that is your y1. That is the point. So we just substitute in. So y minus your y1 is 1. Your slope is 1/3. I forgot to put parentheses. And then x minus a -3. And let's simplify that. And all we have to do is now do keep change here, and we get x plus 3. And that is the answer that we're looking for, because all we want is point-slope form. All right, next example. Okay, there'll be many times when they don't give you the slope, so they'll give you an example like this, or a question like this. It says, write an equation in point-slope form for the line through the 2 points. So all they give you are 2 points. When they give you just 2 points, first, step 1 is find slope. So if they didn't give you slope, you have to find slope. So step 1, find slope. So I'm going to do what we're used to doing. So we're going to do 1 minus a negative 3, and then 4 minus 2. And you know the slope formula, so I'm not reviewing it. So here we have to keep change, so this becomes 4, and that's 2. If we reduce it, then our slope is 2. Now I use y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's my formula for point slope form, and I substitute my slope, and I can pick any of these points. I could pick this point or I can pick this point, but I'm only going to pick one. So I'm going to start with this point here. And the reason why is because it doesn't have any negatives. So I'm going to do y minus y1, and y1 is 1. And then my slope is 2. And then I do x minus 4. And remember, the 4 is right there. And then this is my answer. That's all I have to do at this point. And we will go further with it and do other things and get to standard form, but that's the next lesson. Okay, next example. Okay, in this example, they have write an equation in point-slope form, so we're doing the same thing, for the linear function using the given values. Now, if you remember before, we know that f of x is the same thing as y. So if I give you f of x is 2x plus 3, that's the same thing as y equals 2x plus 3. So the x goes inside the parentheses there. That's where the x lives. Okay? So what they've given you here is they've given you f of negative 2 equals 15. So write that down. And then they've given you f of 1 equals 9. Well, what they've given you is an x and a y, because we know that x goes inside the parentheses, so this is your y. So this is a point, and the point would be negative 2, 15. And then this is a point, this is an x, and this is a y. So your other point is 1, 9. So if they've given you 2 points, then step number 1, your first step, is always to find slope. So I'm going to find slope. So I do that by doing 9 y2 minus y1, so 9 minus 15, 1 minus a negative 2, and then I have my slope. So this is negative 6. This is keep change, which makes it 3. I reduce, and I get negative 2. So my slope is negative 2. Then I pick one of the points, it doesn't matter which one, and I'm going to substitute into my formula. My formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So let's substitute. This time I'm going to substitute the second point, but it doesn't matter. So y minus 9 equals, my slope is negative 2 there, and then x minus 1. And that would be the answer that we're looking for. Okay, they're going to show this to you in different ways, so let me show you another way they will give it to you. Now they give you an example with a table, and they say write an equation from this table in point-slope form that represents this linear function. So remember, when they give you a table, they're giving you x and y's, which means they're giving you 4 points. That's a point, that's a point, that's a point, and that's a point. So we have these 4 points. Now, all we need to do is we need to find slope. Remember, step 1 is find slope. So you pick any 2 points and find the slope. So I'm going to pick these 2 points because they're first. So I do 5 minus 2, that's the y's, and 0 minus a negative 1. I end up with 3 over 1, so my slope is 3. Now I pick any of these points. Any of these points I can pick to work right into my point slope form. Again, I'm just going to pick the first one. You can pick any one. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Hopefully I've said it enough times that you're memorizing this already. So let's do y minus 2, that's this one, equals my slope, which is 3, and then x minus a negative 1. So then I need to simplify it, and make sure you do simplify it, because on a test I will take off if you don't. So my answer is there. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, I believe this is the last one. First, I want you to copy this particular graph into your notes. Make sure you graph the points -3, 2, 6, -4. And guess what? We get to write an equation in point slope form. Same thing, first step, step number 1. And you guessed it, it is find slope. So we need to find the slope of this line. Now you can subtract it or you can just count up. So I'm just going to count up, rise over run, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So up 6, and then over 1, 2, 3, and then over 3. So my rise over run would be 6 over 3, which reduces to 2. So that's going to be my slope. My slope is 2. So now I pick either point, so I can pick -3, 2 if I want to. So I'm going to pick this point and do y minus y1. y1 is 2 equals my slope, which is 2, and then x minus a -3. Then I can do y minus 2 equals 2 times x plus 3, and I have my answer. And that's it for today's lessons. So your assignment after this will be your homework. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.